is 50, but usually you go to about to 20, 30. You don't need a whole lot. So now there's a little bit of space, and life is again good again. Wonderful. And that is how you do a drop cap, which you can also color again. So I am going to be doing it to green. Just choose a singular color when you're doing your spreads, like same color as your headline and your article. You don't need too many, just be standard. Don't be confusing your reader. So, but you also need to put in your byline, and your byline is a little box that goes right here. But how do you adjust your text box so then there is space for this little box, but it's not the funky little shape of up to the side, up again, cross, and finish the box? Well, what you can do is use your text wrap. So let's create our text box for our byline. So by my Cornish news editor, my bad, old editor, viewpoints editor. Well, I don't need a super big box, but there appears to be too much text for a too little box. So what I can do is I can go to fitting and fit frame to content. Wonderful. And I can just space it out. Then again, fit frame to content. So now we are going to put it over here. Well, now it's just overlapping. You can't read anything. That is where your text wrap comes into play. So since this is a square and most of your things will be square, go to here, make sure that is linked, and then you just click up. It doesn't need to be super big. We are going to be making it just a little bit smaller. Tell me about that. I'm going to make it a bit of a smaller size. 9. So then, when I go to preview, which you can easily do by deselecting anything and pushing W, you can see everything without any lines. So now you can see a little thin blue line around the main text box, which is your text wrap, which pushes things away. And now things are all in a good place. Later, if you would like, you can group these two things together. So you just highlight, you can either select things and push shift and select other things, or you can do what I just did and click and drag a little box over it, and then do a right click and push group. So then the distance between the elements inside this box stays, no matter how much I move it around. And then you can also ungroup it right here. Wonderful. Let's say you're getting close to the finishing of your layout, and you want to lock things into place. So to do that, just adding more text so that it doesn't look as lonely, you go to layers, and you can just kind of see like some examples. So you can double click on things to find things, or you can do what's super easy and just take it out of your vision. So the eye means that you can see it. When there is no eye, that means you can't see it. So making that visible. But I can also lock things. So I am locking that into place. And I also locked this text box right here so that I can't click on it, meaning that I can't move it. It's stopped there. Easily reversible, just unlock it so then I can move it around again. You can have multiple layers for different types of text if you would like, but usually you only really need one. Okay. So this is essentially the basics of InDesign, like the super basics, tools that are available in any section. With InDesign, really, you just take the things that I just taught you and just have fun with it. You can try out different tools and try to recreate layouts from previous Odyssey News magazines or layouts from other publications, and try to explore and have fun with your creative self and layouts. News layouts are usually pretty simple. Variety and viewpoints can have a little bit more fun with them. Sports as well, depending on what the story is about. So let's zoom out a little bit. You can do fit spread and window. And a spread is, again, these two pages right here. I can also do fit page to window, which focuses me on this just one page. But I want to see both. Yeah. Yeah. So again, to save, like any other, I guess if you remember pages, you go to File, Save As. I'm going to do M Cornish Test 1, and I want to save it to my desktop, and I save it there. And while this document is open on my desktop, there will be 2 pages right here, meaning that it is open, and then I can't open it again because, of course, it's already open. Doesn't make any sense. But when I close out of it, there'll just be one little file, and I'll be able to open it again for later work. Right before we go, I'm going to show you what happens if there's an error with the photo file. So we're going to escape out of this, make my window a little bit smaller so that I can work on 2 things at once. Okay, so the photo that I just used is this one right here. Well, I am going to move it to my summer folder because I did some work for the summer. Well, then when I go back onto my Adobe, it is checking for errors, and as you will see, it will be red because it isn't linked correctly, because the address of the photo has changed. Sometimes this could take a minute, but essentially I go to my links and there is an error right there. So I right click, relink, and I go into my summer folder, and it's right there. Open. It doesn't change its format. It's like it doesn't move it. It just acknowledges its new location. Great. Yeah. So that is basically everything you really need to know about InDesign, linking, text, colors. Again, have fun with it. Just play around with it. You truly learn from experience with InDesign. It may seem super complicated, but once you really understand what you need to use, it's all fun and games from there. A couple of general InDesign rules real quick is, for photos, never have a face on the crease. That is, no, the most important part of a photo is the face. And depending on where the pages are in the magazine when it's printed, it could essentially take a good chunk of the face away because of how the magazine is folded. So always have the face away from the crease. It could be like this, like that, but never have the face directly on the crease. Never. Just have it towards the side. And do not be afraid of white space. Just general like white space right here. Sometimes, depending if you have the space, white space is good. You need a little bit because it just gives the reader some breathing room while they're reading. Not everything is cramped together. They don't have to squint their eyes to try to read things. They have a very easy flow of the page. And with that, keep in mind how the reader's eyes work. So English readers read from left to right, from top to bottom. So keep in mind if you are having a 2-page, 4-page spread, so that you can keep the text flowing and everything all looks great and beautiful. So that is the bare essentials of InDesign. Have fun with it. Look more towards the InDesign checklist and survival guide for further information about certain fonts, sizes for different elements of the magazine. Okay. Have fun!